Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's coverage of the inaugural season of the NASCAR Class C Maconi Setup Shop Fix Series, the first of many for this recently rebranded series. This evening, we're excited to be bringing you top-foot action for the weekly Straight the Field race from iRacing's virtual Richmond Raceway in Richmond, Virginia. Maconi Entertainment is here to bring you all the action for all types of racing. Go to the weekly Fast Friday series. No matter what you're racing, we can bring the action to life. My name's Justin Prince. Joining me in the booth today is David Kreutz, with Eddie Smith working the controls as our producer, using cameras provided by the great Dougie Beard. When it comes to tonight, David, Richmond Raceway, being a smaller track, carries a lot of action. After all, it is the action track. But with its steeper than usual banking and low grip in the corner exits, what do you expect to see from this track tonight?
It's been a little while since we've gone to a track here in this series that's been under 1 mile in length. I'll tell you this much, they called it the action track back in its day for a good reason. 3/4 of a mile here in Richmond, Virginia. The track was open in 1946, but it has not had any major changes in almost 40 years. 1988, its most recent modification become the 3/4 mile circuit it is today. 14 degrees of banking through the corners, 8 degrees on the front stretch. The iconic D-shaped oval, it's a bit smaller than most that are usually intermediates. Palletsing outside is very, very common here, more so than most ovals, and multiple lanes from high to low can be used throughout every corner. 51,800 spectators in their virtual form will pack the house tonight, and I'm sure we've got many more tuning in on Maconi Entertainment. I'll tell you this much, this series has not disappointed. We ended under yellow most recently when we were racing at the Tricky Triangle, but I feel tonight we've got a chance to see more green flag racing, even with the close quartered nature of short track action.
Qualifying just coming to a close now, and plenty of drivers making their way out to the action track. An I rating average of 46.25 gets us all set to go here tonight. Let's take a look at how we'll start off this evening for a packed field of 24 trucks. On the pole today, it's Jordan Kuntz alongside Austin Johnson, one of his first S.O.F race starts for the Nexus Esports driver. Jeremy Gardner starts alongside William Hale, one of the Maconi Setup Shop back drivers. One of the drivers top towards the top of the standings is Ryan Andrew this season. Will start alongside Jonathan Tuckness. John Hall, also an Nexus Esports driver, starts alongside Bragnan Gagnon, along with Jared Nelson and Curtis Sutton, the top 10. Joey Misavage, just a 10th off the pole is enough to get you 11th, with Andrew Lutz in 12th. Jeffrey Maconi is running this race himself as well tonight, alongside Peyton Howell, with Cole Hawkin in 15th. Alex Bell starts 16th, with 2 other drivers taking times, Adam Wright and Jacob Snyder, the points leader, dead last in quality in time. Amongst the drivers notable for tonight, NASCAR spotter Joshua Williams starts 19th, Lee Heron alongside. Ryan Oates starts 21st alongside Ross Phillips. Sean Rafferty starting to the tail of the field. Andre Fallerini from Elliott Sauer Esports rounds out your field. That's what we talked about your running order here tonight. Let's take a look and turn at your Maconi Setup Shop race analysis. It's a very fast race here at the circuit tonight. Just 55 laps, 1 green-white checkered available if necessary. Fixed setups, and as to be expected, no fast repairs for our drivers tonight. All as they get ready to race at what's a fairly cool track. Around the 80-degree mark, Fahrenheit height-wise, is your track temperature this evening as we look to see if everyone can keep those hot tempers in check at a short track.
I'll tell you this much, by the time this race is over, the tempers will be much hotter than the track. Sun is setting, partly cloudy skies, and I'm sure the track is going to change. We might see a bit more grip in the tire, a little more life in them. With 55 laps, it might even be a little bit smaller in the puzzle of the strategy. Not a lot of time. Track position, I feel, is going to be a big deal. Jordan Kuntz knows where he wants to start, and he's there for a good reason. A 6,700 I rating mark leads the field tonight, and he leads him in qualifying 2. We haven't seen him for a while in the strength of field race we broadcast here, but he was our former points leader. He has been very close to victories before. He's even gotten one here, and as you take a look at your point standings, he's battling against Jacob Schneider and many others at the front of this field. Schneider leading with 1,173 points, 5 wins. Ryan Andrew only has 1 win, but he's 75 points back, with Austin Johnson 3rd and Oliver Cordell in 4th. Rounding out the top 5 is Brandon Chaburko. He's 211 points back with 2 wins. Euroshack has 10 wins. He's inside that top 10 too.
Yeah.
But now, this win matters the most. The green flag falls in Richmond Raceway. We're under green as the sun sets behind him.
Oh, Ray, trouble in the grass! 2 drivers slide around John Hall amongst those avoiding damage, but it's Cole Ponkin who ends up going from 15th to dead last before we even make it to turn 1. Lead is on as Johnson underneath. He's trying to get the run on Kuntz. Kuntz, though, holding on for the first lap led with William Hale looking for second.
Jordan Kuntz going to be able to keep that lead for the moment. He's got pressure, though, right down low. He'll have to work that middle groove and barely be able to clear. Nice move there for the number 1 machine as William Hale keeps himself right there intact. Austin Johnson now going to be side by side for second as the number 1 machine leads him through 3 and 4 once again. Most of your field is still together. It looks like Cole Ponkin able to put it back together. He's 5 seconds behind your leader.
Hale quickly up 2 spots in the span of 2 laps complete already. Speaking of those cutting ahead, Jeremy Gardner looking up the inside for the 3rd spot. And it's such a rhythmistic track for a reason. If you end up falling behind trying to make the pouncing pass, well, get ready for someone else to try and make a pass or 10 on you.
And the thing about Richmond is that high line can work. If you make a mistake down low, it is not locked in your position at the very least. They can still try to have a few battles with you there. Maybe take a spot up high, go a little bit higher and try to take another. Right now we're riding aboard with Ryan Andrew here. You can see he's locked up high. Side-by-side battle he's currently in. And you can see he's up there in the front of the field, currently scored in position number 4, just ahead right now on Jeremy Gardner. Looks like he's clear at the moment.
For the race lead, though, it's William Hale looking up the inside. One of the lowest drivers in terms of I rating entering the night, but not a surprise to see him up at the front. A short track veteran in real world action. Still not able to make the pass yet, though. Kuntz, despite rubbing the numbers off the side of his truck, looking to make this pass at least but much harder defensively.
And that's the thing about Jordan Kuntz as a driver. He always tries to make sure the tires are with them until the checkered flag falls. I've had the pleasure to see him race time and time again in multiple truck leagues, and that is the big key to his winning way. The tires will last all the way if that man at the number 1 machine is driving, and as you can see, he used that high line effectively to take the lead right back. He finds himself once ahead of William Hale, and now they'll come down to lap number 8 with the same race leader.
Yeah, now setting up the rhythm. Defensive movements starting to come up through parts of the pack. Things getting aggressive for 10th, for example. Jared Nelson is the only driver in the C fixed category to have a C license, it's worth noting. I believe it's on the other side of that yellow box. And right now, that's the tough thing. It's the fact that drivers are getting a little bit boxy around that mid-pack with the 21 and 17 in particular. Others up front, very calm.
And the front runners have stayed smooth, as you can see on our main feed right now. As we look on back, actually, there are some battles, namely Joey Misevich right now. Number 64 machine is going to be on his truck, but he's got the number 10 on his I-rating badge. And right now, he's sporting a good run at 13th place, battling right now side by side to keep it in the baker's dozen. He'll work his way up high once again. And if you're stuck double file, it's both drivers who are stuck, both the high and the low. It's very, very challenging to break out of that gridlock unless you're clearly quicker, and right now Misevich able to do so, but everyone behind him, they're still battling, and they are still battling hard.
Adam Wright really loose, nearly getting into Josh Williams. Josh Williams, a driver with experience working with drivers like Ryan Blaney in the NASCAR Cup Series over the years. Paul Menard also comes to mind. The time when the Wood Brothers racing machines had that very distinct highlighter yellow. But Williams currently one of your bigger movers up +3. Your biggest mover by far, though, your points leader Jacob Snyder +11.
And it looks like right now Jacob Schneider putting that championship drive back into work. He did not get the qualifying he needed, but right now he's showing he's one hell of a driver all over again. Currently finds himself in 7th, as you mentioned, and continues to gain time. Last time by, his lap time is a 22.437. That is quicker than the race leader, Jordan Kuntz, and it's dead even with the driver right in front of him. Only guy quicker right now who's ahead of him is Jeremy Gardner in the 5th position. So it looks like
trouble
right
back
now,
straight away.
trouble.
Sean Rafferty nearly ranking at the back of the grouping, it's worth noting. A 19th spot, just about turned in front of at least 5 trucks. We stay green. It's getting very physical for those wearing out their tires. You see some of those drivers really starting to struggle. This is around that mid-run where usually if you push the tires, you find out right now.
Yeah, they're fighting out indeed. You can see they're getting real loose corner after corner. That's going to be another bobble for the number 15 machine on your frame. Side by side right now, it's door banging. It is no give, no take. They're going to go way up the track. It's going to be 3 wide, and aggression, tempers may be setting in. Multiple drivers involved, and it's going to be one spinning.
That is literally for last. It's Alex Bell turned down the straightaway by Ross Phillips. And because no one else is behind Alex Bell, we stay green. Bell significantly demolished. That's horrific luck for a driver that's done well at the league scene in the past.
And it looks like tonight it's gotten the better of him here, and Steve fixed Alex Bell. He was in the back of the field there, trying to keep his spot. When you're that far back, you just want to keep with the pack, and it looks like he's not going to be able to do just that, as we're now looking right up in front. The battle for second going to involve William Hale and Austin Johnson. Jordan Kuntz is flying away right now. 17 laps in, he's looking real good to maybe take it all away and find himself right back in victory lane.
Oh, Austin Johnson, though, getting a love tap from one of the Maconi esports drivers. That's Ryan Andrew, who's holding on to 4th. The drivers we talked about up towards the top of the standings coming into tonight. By the way, as we zip along with tonight's festivities, decent time to mention, tonight's action brought to you by Maconi Setup Shop and Maconi Entertainment, home for setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, event promotion, and more. The esports part you can count as more. Subscriptions available as low as $8 a month. Official setup shop of eNASCAR and series sponsor of the NASCAR Class C Fix Series. 2 of those Maconi setup shop back trucks. Bit in the sandwich though. Austin Johnson trying to go, looking on board from Jeremy Gardner. Gardner with nowhere really to go. He's lost a couple spots since the start of this race, already quickly approaching halfway.
And as they come through to the halfway mark in just a few laps time, the Maconi setup shop machines might be back-to-back in terms of positions, but it's not going to be them passing. It looks like right now they're getting worked over for a pass. William Hale trying to make it work right down low. This has been a side-by-side battle for several laps at this point. It just looks like nobody can break away. They're pretty even in terms of lap time. That time by, they were separate by only just about 8 1/1000ths of a second, and it was like that the lap before. Very consistent, even though they're running different lines. It's all going to come down to, though, who's going to give first, because this is not sustainable for the whole race unless they've got something really under their sleeve to keep these tires cool.
And that's not too easy to do here, because remember that weather graphic at the start of the race? One of the main things that pops up along short tracks these days, because of how much speed is put into the racing surface and energy in turn put into the pavement, the temperature is up 5 degrees, so it's gotten even slicker as the night has gone on. Oh, and it's very humid, so it's not going to really cool off too much at all.
And it looks like these drivers are going to have to battle that fact. Working his way up high once again, William Hale goes up just a groove higher. Trouble there, but he's going to be able to get right back in front and keep his position. There you have it. They're going to work their way through once again. 23 laps in at a 55. And we look on back now. That's the boss man himself in Jeff Maconi. Right now, he finds himself running the 11th spot against the best of the best in these trucks. Running very well as we see your C-Fix driver point of view. You're going to have the main feed up on the top left of your screen. And on the bottom right, there's Jeff Maconi himself working his magic inside his simulator. Looks real good right now. He's got an all-access view of the entire field as he now begins to work on Jared Nelson.
See him trying to back things up a little bit. All of a sudden looking to make a pass after letting by a driver at first. All with his biggest fan to his left, trying to keep him very motivated. Williams looking to be motivating his way past a few drivers 3 wide.
And they take it 3. Maconi gonna have to stay calm and collected here. He's got a bigger view than presumably the guys he's working with, so he'll take the big picture in mind and fall back just a bit further. Nice and easy. The 0-3 machine there on your frame stays in the battle, and right now he's got himself involved with 2 other Maconi drivers in Jonathan Tuckness and Joey Misevich right there with him. Let's look at another Maconi on Maconi battle. It's involving my fault, William Hale. Get my history mixed up there with Austin Johnson. As they go side by side again, they're still lunging at each other out of 2.
A little bit loose though. Austin Johnson having to hold on to it. David, that's a major difficult part of a track like this tonight. The longer the run goes, the more likely that rear tire goes, and that's been a major trouble spot in the past as we reach halfway. Driver spinning out of turn 2 off that right rear tire.
Even with 55 laps on the agenda tonight, you can absolutely see tires begin to get burned off. That is a huge, huge challenge to deal with. If you burn it to a certain point, it will not come back. You're going to lose a tire practically and find yourself limping around the circuit for the rest of the way. 29 laps in, the drivers up in front more than likely know how to manage that and go against that effect, but even then, they don't want to see it. They're single file once more. It's been side by side for the most part. As we take a look at yet another battle right now, it's going to be Jacob Schneider right now working his way on that high side, and he's going to try to take that safe light machine up to yet another position, trying to break into the top 5. He's only about a second and a half away.
Really trying to make up for lost time after having not the best of qualifying runs. Half a second off the pole. Curtis Sutton, though, just keeping that pressure up. Sutton, a solid driver. We've seen him off and on in the past in terms of these higher up races. He's been getting better and better. I have noticed over the years, too. Slowly becoming a top 10 driver whenever you see Sutton have a chance with track position.
Right now, consistency is key for the points game, and of course, even if you're here one and done, you want to show you can run up there without any incident. No yellow flags so far, 31 in out of 55, so we don't all too much expect anything out of the ordinary. But these battles showing the discipline of drivers at this higher level. A little better so than last week where we had a really, really tough time making it to the end, and now a third driver inserts themselves in the battle. That looks to be indeed Chris Sutton, and it's a wiggle there.
Curtis Sutton having to hold on there in the midst of that. So the partner and owner for Raceway War, the truck racing team, not able to make the pass yet. Still having to regather himself in the midst of this fight, up the 2 spots so far.
And able to keep himself in the battle. Nice save there for Curtis, so it ain't over, but it's going to be a bit tougher to get right back into that position once again. Still on the back bumper, goes down low, tries to get a lunge on it once again. Maybe there's an opportunity, and it looks like there will be. Side by side, down the front stretch once more. And go back to the exact same way. 1/10 of a second separates the 2. The low line has been the big thing for the Sutton machine so far. It looks like still Jacob Schneider will be able to defend himself and keep that battle at bay. 3 and 4, the big stronghold for the Rackley roofing machine.
So nowhere to go in the midst of this fight. By the way, they have lost 2.5 seconds nearly up to the race leaders. Of how aggressive this has gone. Jordan Coates, by the way, still up by 1.6 seconds over Ryan Andrew. And so far, no lap traffic to deal with whatsoever. In fact, everyone's so close on pace. There's a chance we may see only one, if not a couple lap trucks if we go green.
As it stands, last man on the order in Alex Bell, only 14 seconds back on the track. The odds he gets lapped at this rate, he is quicker than your leader by 8/1000ths of a second last time by. There is indeed a chance that we don't see anyone go lap down. That goes to show the incredible amount of speed every driver has. I think qualifying really set the stage for this one, and Jordan Kuntz has been able to fly away even if everyone is so close on pace.
It's interesting to note, though, the differences on how you find speed, because just about the entire field is in the 23.2s on average. Some are in the 1s, some are in the 3s, a couple 5s in the midst of traffic. But Kuntz is among still staying in 4th gear. You go back to Curtis Sutton, one of the drivers with, well, obviously rearwheel experience when you own a truck team. He is amongst those who has been playing around with the shifting through third gear to try and get the power band off and on. Caution flag is out, though. It's in front, and it's Austin Johnson in the wall.
And Austin Johnson sees himself backed up. He backs up once again to avoid the remainder of the field. And it's surely a heartbreaker for the driver in that number 21 on your frame for Nexus Esports, having a fantastic run up ahead. We get an instant replay here in Maconi Entertainment. Certainly not the way he wanted this race to finish out. Mired back in the middle of the field. Going to take a lot more effort to get back up front.
And as drivers get themselves getting ready for pit stops here, expecting less than 15 laps to decide it here, that viewpoint's going to be important to mention. Here is a look at some of those battles at the time, but it's the issue of what happens with William Hale. Normally, you'd think what you'll see here is avoidable. Contact to the outside wall of the truck in front, you make the pass. Apparently, decides to pinch the driver already in the wall. That's a strange one.
That's a tough one to judge. There's a chance maybe Johnson did not know he was in the wall. There's a possibility that, given the short-term nature of the incident, did not happen in a lot of time. But at the same time there, pinching a driver who's that much slower might have not been the best situation. As you can see now, Ryan Andrews scored as your leader, and as Jordan Kuntz now scored in second. How about this 88 machine now going to be up ahead?
This gets interesting. Two tire calls from Ryan Andrew, Joey Masevich, as well as Jeffrey Maconi and Lee Heron. So a majority of those on the Maconi Esports side trying to get track position. Kuntz and Hale staying on the 4 tires who had that positioning. This is a little tricky, but this is also a move you make when you're going for the win.
With the victory in mind, Jordan Kuntz has so far looked unstoppable. The big question is whether or not Ryan Andrew has that hot lap pace in the start of these runs. That's really going to determine whether or not he's going to be able to break away from that number 1. Because Jordan Kuntz is most often a long-run driver. He'll work you over and work you out of the race lead by the checkered flags fall. But with so little time remaining, now, everyone on a level playing field might give Andrew the opportunity to break away in a way we didn't see expecting before.
1 lap to green taken. Of note, a couple drivers starting to deal with technical issues. Jared Nelson potentially off the track. He's been dealing with technical issues during the pace laps. Josh Williams, rear-wheel NASCAR spotter, has lost his spotter, Brandon Chaburko. Yes, sometimes racing with fellow competitors builds friendships. We'll see if everybody keeps themselves together here in the place located in the state. After all, that's talked about to be about lovers. We'll see if anyone has those feelings together when we get back going. Coming up to lap 43. About 13 to go. Ryan Andrews off and away. Green flag is out.
Andrew able to take a breakaway lead, and look at Joey Masevich going right down low. We've got ourselves another new competitor up in front. The gamble going to be made for that man, the 64. Now he battles side by side off of corner number 2. Maybe there's a shot that we didn't expect. Yep, flag is out.
It's at the back of the field. 22nd place, Sean Rafferty.
And Rafferty going to go around the Todd Bodine throwback. Not good at all. We saw Rafferty battling before the Alex Bell incident, and now yet another problem for this number 30. Yellow flag falls for the second time as we get an instant replay here at Maconi Entertainment.
And keep in mind, he was the last driver at the start and finish line. Just made the pass on the truck inside. But watch the corner exit. Remember, air underneath the right front from damage earlier.
And that damage might have played a big factor there, coming loose off 2. Doesn't get it locked down enough time at least. And just like that, got ourselves a spinner, which brings us back under the caution. And just like that, things have changed all over again.
So, second caution of the night coming out. As we pace the lawn here, Jared Nelson, the only driver, laps down outside of Colpacan now. Nelson just trying to get back in the truck after losing 2 laps due to a technical issue. Fortunate once again for the 21 truck had been running in the mid-pack. But how long does this last for Andrew? 2-tire call, 30 laps older left front side tires. Can he hold on if it goes long enough green?
Another yellow, an immediate yellow, I think is exactly what he needed to keep himself up in front. The more yellows he gets in this final stretch, the better opportunity that he has to go until the flat falls. I mean, you're not wearing out your tires in a situation like this when you're just pacing around, and in the case he has just enough to go from here on out, maybe he'll have just enough room. Track position is major. Even one spot will do you a lot of justice, and Jordan Kuntz will have to work his way around it. It could be a situation of being a roadblock of sorts, but still, having that lead better than being in second on the chasing end.
Expecting to get ready for the 1-to-go signal. Amongst those who have taken the 2-tire calls, Andrew is in first, Misevich is in fourth, Maconi is in 10th. And keep in mind, because it's Richmond, longer pace laps due to those laps down. So 2-to-go signal now taken. Should be about a 7-lap shootout to zip things around the racetrack. Can't go unhappy with this throughout tonight's festivities. Remember, tonight's action brought to you in part by Maconi Competizione, specializing in event organization, promotion, and execution. Contact Maconi Setup Shop LLC for all inquiries. So we'll see what happens here with a lot of competition. Looking to get in the competition up at the point.
And the point will be all about who's got that proper strategy. 2 tires, 4 tires, we mentioned it. The short runs, the yellow flags, they're all coming here and now. And Ryan Andrew playing the big game, gambling it all on the line up in front. And when we come back to green, we'll be looking at just about 7 laps remaining, give or take. Double file as it stands. Andrew is down low. He's going to have to bank on having just enough speed to handle it. Maybe his left side tires are going to be able to go all the way from here on out. Maybe there's another yellow flag, or now Jordan Kuntz will understand his restart game and making a much closer battle as we get back to the start-finish.
Connie Esports on the inside. Proximity Racing on the outside. Pace car is off. Green flag is out, back underway. Ryan Andrew clear. Kuntz trying to block for second. 3 wide behind him.
Andrew's got himself that lead once more, but it's another battle for the second spot. You got William Hill going at it, but it's going to be Jordan Kuntz clearing him just barely off of corner exit. Nice move there. We got lunges 3 wide. Misevich going to be run up the circuit, and it looks like Jacob Schneider is too. Now Ryan Andrew in the toughest battle of his time sees Misevich in the wall.
Savage is still trying to save it. Does, as he's taking 3 wide with Maconi passing. That looks really difficult. No incident. Lutz Jr. having to back out. Now having to back out. Another caution is out of the back.
Yellow flag falls. This might send us into overtime here. I'm not quite sure as we see Ryan Oates go around. And that will be our 3rd yellow, potentially our final of the night.
So Ryan Oates with a very colorful paint scheme sent for a very slippy, slidey ride. These 2 drivers spinning down the back straightaway for the cause of caution, by the way. Adam Wright, the other driver, who was taken 3 wide, the second layer of drivers. Farini picks up damage too.
And a harsh hit there. Multiple drivers involved. You see Adam Wright in focus this time. And that's going to take them guys in the back of the field out of contention. I mean, Jordan Misevich might have been the catalyst there, shaking everyone up. But then back of the field came apart once more. Synchronized spinning almost right there. It looks like he will have a lot of front end damage to work with for the rest of the way. Gonna try to salvage anything more out of the race, but odds are much slimmer now as we're running out of time.
So as we pace around here, and as one driver gets on the lead lap, Cole Parkin getting that chance here as the lucky dog. It's worth mentioning tomorrow night the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series is taking place tomorrow night. New Hampshire Motor Speedway. That is a very well-dear track to those part of the Maconi family. It just so happens to be Maconi Setup Shop 101 tomorrow night at New Hampshire. Cover starts 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time for pre-race action, 9 p.m. for the green flag. Catch that all at enascar.com/live. So that should be an intriguing one in New Hampshire. A few of these drivers actually amongst those potentially on the boxes of the respective teams. But as we get set to go, expecting the green-white checker trigger this upcoming time by Ryan Andrew just needs to hold on for about 4 sets of corners to try and take away the win.
And it's going to be the hardest 4 sets of corners he's ever experienced in this series. Whether or not we're going to have enough time to even extend the race remains to be seen. It might just be a natural green-white checker, but I don't even think that's going to happen. We might see a slight extension and head into overtime. Pace car going to send us through one more time, and it looks like on scoring, yes, the race will be stretched. 56, the final lap seen on our current timing, but it should be extended to 57 after this pace lap. So we're going to eNASCAR overtime for the first time tonight. 3 opportunities to get this one done.
Check
Hopefully
that.
We'll see it happen first.
It's only one in C-Fix competition, brought to you by Maconi Setup Shop. Otherwise, we'd be pacing for 10 laps, up to 10 minutes, rather. But it is 3 if you're in the open side. It's worth noting this week. But how do you win this now? If you're amongst those looking to battle it out, a lot of the drivers on 4 tires up behind. Only Andrew and Maconi left on 2 tires. One's in the lead, one's out of the contention for the lead.
And it remains to be seen whether or not 18 games will be played. I mean, I think for Ryan Andrew right now, you can't worry about anyone behind you. As you mentioned, it is not the 3 rule. It is the 1 shot and you're done rule here. This is the longest the race can go. 57 laps. So if anything happens, he'll have to be ready for it here and now. Nobody going to hold any prisoners. Aggression at its max. And with the iRacing official pace car drops off for the final time tonight, we're sure to see some fantastic racing to get us to the checkered flag.
2 laps to go, 1.5 miles to decide it. Ryan Andrew using strategy to get up at the front. Jordan Kuntz has been the driver very quick all night. Green flag is out. Final restart of the race. Already Andrew is clear as the battle is on for second.
And Jordan Kuntz going to drop down aggressively there into the second spot. He wants this race to hit the white flag, so he has one more opportunity to make a lunge and send it deep down the stretch. Once again to 3 and 4. Jordan Kuntz still about a trek length away. They should be good to come official. White flag's out this time by. It's Andrew then Jordan Kuntz, and it looks like the rest of the field still chasing.
Ryan Andrew looking to hold on for one more set of corners. Kuntz being pressurized for second. Andrew making the strategy work. Has the lunge from behind. Kuntz can't get to the bumper. Ryan Andrew makes 2 tires work to take the win at Richmond. Kuntz holds on to second. What a finish for Ryan Andrew. Strategy pays off.
And Ryan Andrew gets it done for his second win here in the Maconi Setup Shop C-Fix Series. Strategy, the only driver to try and take 2, and it pays off in a big way. Checkered flag is his again. He had a hard-charging field right behind him, and it looks like Jordan Kuntz just able to hold on to second there. Very aggressive to the end, and the number 88 machine able to grab that victory.
Ryan Andrew trying to celebrate. Apparently, the battle for 13th through 16th is bubbling over where drivers are fighting off screen. But let's take a quick break. Ryan Andrew getting the chance to celebrate. You're watching Maconi Entertainment for the Maconi Setup Shop C-Fixed S.O.F. race.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Returning from an action-packed race at the action track, Ryan Andrew is the man that gets it done tonight in Richmond, holding off for her only overtime attempt, and the strategy call worked for the Maconi Setup Shop machine. Andrew, a winner at Richmond. How do you feel after this race?
I'm feeling great. I didn't have a lot of hope with that 2-tire call after. I was hoping that some of my teammates would beat Jordan out of pit road, but I thought that those 4 tires were just going to blow right by me. But we got some good cautions to buy us some time and was able to hold on.
And it looks like the strategy, a bit of a Hail Mary to get it done tonight, but it played out in a big way as the race became more focused on cautions than it was on the long run speed. You were very quick before, of course, that yellow flag, but what led you to that decision to take that risky strategy? Was it just the thought that it was the only way to get through?
Some of my teammates, Jeff and Joey in the back, were talking about taking 2 on the pit stop, and I was like, oh, I might as well try and hope that they can get out behind me so I can have some cars to pad my lead, but it didn't end up happening. But the 2-tire call worked out eventually.
And everything able to play out quite nicely. The yellow flags look to work in your favor there. We did indeed, though, have a final 2-lap shootout. So how was it managing your truck for that final green flag stretch? Was it good to go in terms of competing with these drivers? Because it seemed like you were still able to pull away.
Yeah, I was actually surprised at how well the 2 tires held up. The first lap on the cold tires was a little bit loose, and I was worried that he was just going to drive right by me. But then we got a little bit of a green flag run. It was like 5 laps, and he wasn't running me down. And I was kind of hoping that there wasn't going to be a caution. But we had to get through a couple of restarts to make sure that we held on. Was able to get the restart jumps to get a lead, and had some of my teammates battling with Jordan there to help me out.
And everything plays out quite well for your second Maconi Setup Shop C-Fixed win for this season. Despite all that, you are definitely still a contender there. How do you feel about the rest of the season?
Yeah, happy to finally get it done in the S.O.F race. I had won a race or 2 outside of the S.O.F race, but I had come so close before in the S.O.F race, and just glad to finally get it done. And we got a couple more races on the season that we can try and get some points at to chop down that lead.
And Ryan Andrew, as we mentioned before, a winner, and he does it once again here in Richmond. Got to thank our race winner for our time tonight in an action-packed race from the action track, Richmond Raceway. Overtime, strategy, we saw it all, and that's what led to another race win for the number 88, sponsored by Maconi Setup Shop. Thank you to the race sponsor, Maconi Setup Shop, as well as our broadcast partner, Maconi Competizone. Calling the action tonight was myself, David Kreutz, alongside Justin Prince in the booth with Eddie Smith producing. Thanks to all of our viewers for watching tonight's racing action, and we hope you will stay tuned to all of our social media pages for our next race. Thanks to the entire staff for their work in bringing this racing to you. This has been a production of Maconi Entertainment. We'll see you next time.